Okay, so what is all this online polling that you're going to see? Okay. Online polling, panel polling, and all other types of polling that are not random are simply propaganda. I'm trying to be blunt and terse here. Polls of this type are designed to influence popular opinion, not to measure it, and should neither be reported on nor aggregated. Put another way, this is not actually polling at all. When I see a poll of this type, I will not analyze it. I will not report on it. I will simply point out that it's not a real poll, because it isn't. It is not designed to measure public opinion. It is designed to influence popular opinion. I know I'm repeating myself, but I think it's important. This is what they do with these polls. What they do is they get together a quote-unquote representative sample, and it's designed to bring in different ethnic groups, right? Because all black people are the same, right? All Chinese people are the same. All white people are the same. All gay people are the same. So they take this representative sample, and they bring it in. All women are the same too. That's very important. Very important that we understand that all women will vote the same way. And we bring them into this panel that is broken up for these reasons of diversity. And then what the company does is it asks the same group of people questions over the cycle, right? So these quote-unquote polling groups, what they're doing is they're asking the same group of people every week. And what they're supposed to be doing is measuring how much their opinions have changed. But of course, the polls change on a weekly basis as well. And so like the poll questions change on a weekly basis. And of course, it doesn't take a lot of, analysis or thinking to realize that the purpose of this is to take this group of people and through weasel words and manipulative leading questions and all that kind of thing, modify the opinion in this panel to bring them in line with the sponsors of the panel. Now, in order to justify this, process, which whatever you want to call it, and whatever value you think it has, I think it has some scientific value in measuring how people react, how suggestive people are to outside influence. It's obviously not polling, right? So whatever you think of it, however you want to analyze it, it's just not a poll. If you look at these things, they don't have margins of error, for example. They have these things instead called confidence intervals. And don't be tricked. A confidence interval is not a margin of error. It would be the margin of error if the group was randomized in theory, if all of these racist assumptions held. It's, how can I put this? It's like eating a plastic apple. There's no nutritional value in it. And it'll probably just make you sick. So don't even don't even pretend, okay? When you see these online polling companies, floating around their propaganda, don't even pretend that it might be accurate. Because it's not a poll. It's not meant to be a poll. It's meant to influence how people are thinking. So when I say that we may have experienced the media's expected shift to Trump, what I'm saying is that these companies are floating propaganda in the form of polls, right? Because there's been a lot of evidence done that indicates that when you have a company that, or people react to the polls as much as they, polling can actually affect public opinion. That's what I'm trying to get across, right? So what they're doing is they're floating pretend polls in order to try to influence popular opinion. Um, my perspective on this is, besides ignoring it, if people fall for it, great. But it's a little bit worrisome when you see aggregate sites treat these things as though they're polls. On the one hand, if you look at the aggregate sites that exist in the United States, they're pretty partisan. They don't pretend otherwise, right? The Nate Silver's site is pretty pro-Democrat, and then the Real Clear Politics site is openly Republican, right? There's no pretension towards balance there, or neutrality. In Canada, the polling sites are a lot better, or the aggregate polling sites are a lot better, and they'll point that kind of thing out. Although they do tend to use online polling nonetheless. We're gonna have to wait this out. But when you see these, like I say, just don't even, like I've pointed out a few companies, and I will not be reading their polls through the course of this election because I know that they're not polls. They're propaganda, and we need to, not be shy about it, not pretend otherwise. Let's be blunt. Let's call it what it is. It's not a poll. It's not polling. It's propaganda, and it's meant to be propaganda. It's meant to shape opinion. It's not meant to measure it. Okay? You'll have to. I'm not gonna get into the math here. You just have to believe me when I say that. Okay? I know that if you have the background, or if you want to go ask somebody that do it. Fine. Just if you don't want to trust me, at least take this as a starting point for your own research. But trust me, they're not polls, and they're not meant to be polls. All right.